well, you must know about this because you covered Jeffrey Epstein a lot. You know
Ooh,
that
here
Bill
we go.
Clinton painting they found in Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion with
Yeah,
the
go
blue
on, go
dress and
on.
all that, right?
Tell me more. Yeah, I do
Oh,
know.
you want to know more about that?
I want to know more about that right now. I want to know everything.
Okay, in French we say attache ta tuque, which means tie your toque with your winter hat because it's going to be a rough ride.
D'accord, d'accord.
So I covered
Please,
this
please.
in the Big Pop podcast, but like now we can tie in Obama in this too if you want. But anyway, they found that painting in the late summer of 2019 in Jeffrey Epstein's New York City mansion. Okay, now this was a painting. For your listeners, if they can type it up in Google while they listen to it, but basically it was Bill Clinton sitting on a chair in the Oval Office. It's like
He's sitting
sitting
to his
sideways on
side,
a
isn't he? Yeah,
chair,
sideways on a
to the
chair.
side with his leg crossed, and he has his blue dress, and he has these red shoes.
And he's
Okay.
like this. He's something like this, which is like hands over the top or something.
Oh gosh, and there's so much symbology in there, it's crazy. Okay, so I'll try to make it. Oh, and he's a
It's
very
hard to
important
look at
person.
it. It's hard to
He's
look at it. For me,
pointing.
I have to say it's hard to look at it. Go
Okay,
on.
he's pointing at the viewer too. Okay, he's pointing
Mm-hmm.
at the viewer, right at the viewer. Okay, this is Bill Clinton. And behind there's a bookshelf, and you can't really make out the books, but there's one book you can make out too. Okay,
No.
so now most people think that the blue dress has to do with Monica Lewinsky because he had an affair with her and all that. Good, but that's not right. Okay, it's the dress that his wife wore at the 2009 Kennedy Center honors. Okay, it's the same blue dress if you look at the painting. Okay, the red shoes he's wearing. Okay, there's different interpretations. Red here, the red shoes, they can be symbolic interpretations for many different things. One is feminism, the other is pedophilia, and the other is Satanism.
Mm-hmm.
And an alternate explanation for the red shoes is also could be in association with the shoes that were worn by Dorothy in the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz, right? Because actually in the novel, she was adorned with silver-colored shoes, which represented silver as real money, just like the Yellow Brick Road was gold, the gold standard, right? Like people can look into that, right? So that's some symbolism there. Now, I'll come back to Bill Clinton, but in the back, you can only see one book, okay? And if you zoom it in like 200-300%, you'll see it's a portrait of John F. Kennedy. Okay, and it's actually mirrored because these people are very twisted. They always mirror things to pervert things because they're all about perversion. Okay, so they mirror the image. If you mirror the image, and there's only the one book that was written about JFK, it's called Not in Your Lifetime. It's the definitive book on the JFK assassination. Okay, so anyway, and there's also Clinton, I mentioned, pointing at the viewer. So at least according to an ex-CIA agent, Kevin Shipp, he was kind of a whistleblower. When I blogged, I used to write about, I did a 3-part series post. He did a long PowerPoint presentation and the oral presentation about the CIA and, all the FBI and basically the deep state, okay? And he was, I think he was a counterintelligence officer, so he knew a lot about all these people. And he thinks that this particular painting with the book of JFK in back and Clinton pointing at the viewer was actually a veiled threat directed at Donald Trump. In other words, you better get in line and follow the program, otherwise, you're next. And we can talk about, Trump running again and will they assassinate him? It wouldn't surprise me,
Why would they choose that collection of things to threaten?
He's not part of the club because there's reason to believe he's also a Freemason because he does the pen symbols all the time. One of them is the devil symbols. They have their own symbols.
Oh, but that's been forged into society. It's hard to get. I mean, sometimes it's like I know. I was in a rock band, man. I was lead singer and stuff, and even when I was doing it, I was trying not to do that, but it was
Yeah.
everywhere. It's everywhere. Of course, it's everywhere. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that is within. But I do believe that he is part of the club. That there's actually a few clubs. Next year, I'll be able to explain this in more detail because I'll have a transatlantic group of articles that will go back into a society and will show people that nearly everybody they love is involved. It's terrible. It's actually it's going to be one of the worst series that you can imagine because it just shows everybody's in on it. Everybody's in
I
on it.
mean, the Freemasons is crazy. I mean, I could ruin people's childhoods just talking about who's in on the these satanic agendas. But anyway, I mean, Trump. A lot can be said. Like is he in? Is he not? Or like, but that's a discussion for another day. I'll leave it at that for Trump. But JFK was a Freemason too.
Was he? But they let people into. I mean, I remember like a few years after, and just before he got assassinated, Bobby Kennedy was standing up at Bohemian Grove giving a speech. So they seem to all revolve in the same circles, and some of them play the fool, and some of them play the hero.
But I think he won it out because I think it was a month or so. I can't remember the exact date. It was in 1961, I think. He did a speech at a university about secret societies. So basically denouncing, all this. I don't know if you know about this particular speech. You can look it up, or your audience members can look it up. It's worth listening to. And just a month or two later, he was assassinated. He also tried to bring back the silver certificate notes also in the U.S. I forget the exact executive order, but there were $5 bill silver certificates that had a red band instead. So those got rid of. I think Johnson got rid of those right after him. So there's reason to believe that he was a Freemason, but he kind of wanted to oust these people because he knew what they wanted. But anyway. So, but what's interesting too about this Epstein painting is you might not know, or most people won't notice, is his hand that he's pointing at the viewer. You look at it carefully. He has 6 fingers. Do you know about the finger symbology?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Go on, tell me.
Well, we talked about the number 6 before. It's not necessarily like that. There's always 6 and 666. But anyway. So the 6 fingers, it basically signifies that he's of a special bloodline, or at least he thinks he is.